Hello, Animorphs fans. My hat choice gets worse and worse every single time I appear on screen. We do polls, or correction, I do polls, on Twitter for Animorphs. And we cover all sorts of different topics. I link them on the Discord as well. What's that? There's a Discord. Yes, it's in the link in the description. Let's cover some more polls that we've done over the last couple of weeks on Twitter. We've got a few this week. There was one that I missed in the last episode. It was the first poll that I put up, actually. It had 109 votes. And it was, should the Animorphs be set in modern times or the 90s? An overwhelming 91 votes, 83%, said 90s. And quite frankly, I agree. The problem with the modern times idea, which 17% of people voted for, is that it introduces a whole load of new problems. Technology has come a long way in the 20-odd years since the series was written. Things like phones, security cameras, those two things alone are so much more advanced now and more numerous that a lot of the plot lines in Animorphs would probably fall apart. Most people agree with me, the 90s is where it's at, you know, Saved by the Bell and fucking Dexter's Lab, you know. We all loved the 90s, didn't we? Just think, there are adults now who weren't around in the 90s. Don't you feel old? I will say, before I move on to the next poll, we had a massive variation in how many people put their selections down for these polls. So we've had that one which had 109 people. There's one here that only had 6 people. And a lot of times it depends on whether Michael Grant retweets them. So Michael, it's down to you. Listen to the man with the silly hat. Next poll, who is your favourite Animorph? One of those big questions that probably comes around quite often. And it's quite a funny looking graph, actually. It's a slope. Jake, poor old Jake at the bottom, the leader of the group, the one with probably the most narration in the series. 1 vote. 2% of... Oh, so, I should stop myself from bouncing. 1%... Sorry, Widowmaker. 1% of the vote. No, 1 vote, 2%. Sorry. Now, I thought Cassie would be last, but granted, she's gotten 3 votes. She's a Marmite character. You love her or you hate her. Most people hate her. Some people love her. Hence why I don't think she's bottom of the list. She's at 7% with 3 votes. Next is Axe, which was a surprise. I thought would be above Rachel, with 5 votes, 11%. Rachel, 7 votes to 16%. Marco, who was my favourite character, or the one I put as my favourite character, 9 votes to 20%, and running away with it, running away with 43% and 19 votes, is Tobias. I'm not that surprised. So well done, Tobias. You are the favourite character of the Animorphs fans. Next poll is a little bit similar. Which of these side characters was your favourite? Now, I put this on Twitter. The problem with the Twitter polls is I can only have 4 options, so I only had 4 options. But regardless, there were only 18 votes in this poll, so I wouldn't say it's very accurate. There's not a big sampling of people, but it was between Eric King, Toby Hammy, Melissa Chapman, and Aftran942. This poll surprises me. Now, yeah, there's only 18 votes, so it's probably not that accurate. But still, Aftran942 with 38.9% is the winner of the favourite side character. Surprised me. Eric King and Toby Hammy, 27.8% each. And then trailing at the back, not that much of a surprise, Melissa Chapman with 5.6%. This poll got 6 votes, so but it did get 100% sway. So probably a slight indication of which way the fans want to go. Should the Animorphs movie be campy or serious? Now, the distinction here, it's not 100% either way. Obviously, you can't have a serious movie without 1 or 2 little campy bits here and there. But what I mean by campy is your sort of cheesy 90s sort of style. I wouldn't say like the TV series. There were campy bits in Animorphs, let's be honest. There were very campy bits where it doesn't take itself too seriously. It does a few jokes here and there. You have a bit of a laugh and silly things happen. More serious is pretty obvious. It would tend to be more like a horror thriller sort of thing where everything's very dark in tone, not actual dark, like you're in the shadows or whatever, but the tone of the movie would be very dark. 100%, 6 out of 6 voters, where the hell were you, all of you, by the way, said more serious. I agree. I'd rather have the series jumping ahead there. I'd rather have more serious than more campy. I think it would be more successful that way. I think campy isn't very trendy for films at the moment. And I'm not even a film guy, and I think that. This one ties into a video that I did recently on actors. I put Bryan Cranston as Chapman, Charles Dance as Visser 3, yes or no. Now, Michael Grant replied to this one, basically saying, he said exactly, Bryan Cranston and Charles Dance as any damn thing they want to be. I think Michael Grant is saying there, these actors can do whatever they want so long as they're in the film, because we all love Bryan Cranston and Charles Dance. Even if you don't know who they are, you love them. In this poll, 82.6% of voters out of 46 voters said yes, please, to Bryan Cranston as Chapman and Charles Dance as Visser 3. 17.4% are silly billies. Next poll, should Visser 3 appear less often in future Animorphs media? Only 17 votes again for this one. This is something I've touched on in my What I Want in the Animorphs movie top 10 list thing. Less Visser 3 means more intimidating Visser 3. Imagine Charles Dance from the last poll as Visser 3. Do you want him to be appearing in every single scene, his plans being foiled? No. That would just completely waste his potential as an intimidating character. You want him to appear in the background doing shady stuff while sub-Vissers are ruining his plans, and then he does the whole Visser 3 thing of take out the sub-Visser who failed him. He would be a much more sinister and intimidating figure. And 65% of people, I believe, agree with me. 35% are wrong. This is a tough one. Should the Animorphs movie be R-rated? Now, you've got to remember, I'm British. So my knowledge of the rating systems in America isn't quite as clear as it probably should be. By R-rated, I mean things like gratuitous violence, gore, body horror to an extreme degree. And this was actually quite a close poll as well, with 55%, 41 voters saying, yes, bring on the horror. Bring on the gore. Bring on the blood spatters and, you know, faces being ripped off and all that horrible stuff. And the other option was, no, we want the young uns watching, which is 45%, which I agree with. I think the minority here has got the right idea, because if you've got a film with people getting their faces ripped off and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to show that to a younger audience. And I think a younger audience would jump on the idea of teenagers turning into animals. That's a demographic we probably don't want to waste. So yeah, have violence, but, you know, do the whole thing. I mean, it happens in the books a lot of the time. Like, Jake will attack a Hawk Bajir or something and scratch it up, and then it will sort of get up and sort of back away, and that will be it. I mean, yeah, it does go further than that a lot of the times. I think the movie can do that as well. But for the most part, you know, remember, these are kids. With the exception, perhaps, of Rachel, they're going to go in there, do some damage, and then, you know, not take it too far. I mean, they're not like bloody Antifa or something. Should the Animorphs movie be a compilation of books 1 to 4? This touches on a couple of polls from last time where people said they wanted solely to concentrate on book 1, but they also wanted story stuff from the other books. So I brought it all into one question. Should it be a compilation of books 1 to 4? 59% out of 41 voters said yes. I forget which way I vote on this one, but that's just a summation of some previous polls. Let's move on to the real important one. The last poll that I'm going to tell you about today is the most important one. I do it every year. Which is your favourite alien race? And thank the Lord, the right answer was chosen out of the options and like Hawk-Bajir, Yeerks and Taxxons, the 4 major races. If I was to put a fifth in there, it would probably be the Chi. Hawk-Bajir, 51%, more than half voters selected Hawk-Bajir as their favourite alien race. 42% said Andalites, Yeerks and Taxxons trailing at the bottom with 4 and 3% respectively. Correct choice, Animorphs fans, you've done me proud. And Hawk-Bajir once again take home the trophy of Favourite Alien 2020, as well as 2018 and 19. Michael Grant, Axe needs a race change. Clearly. Hawk-Bajir, superiority. So that's it for the polls. I'll probably be doing some more. I'll probably slow it down a bit now, though, because else I'll run out of ideas real quickly. But I'm sure there'll be another polls video in the near future, especially if we get some more news from Grant or Picture Star or anything to do with the Animorphs movie. Expect more polls in the future. If you want to answer these polls, join me on Twitter. I'm ThomasHeap91. Go find me. I post all sorts of different Animorph stuff, retweet Animorph stuff, and just generally have an Animorphsy good time. Also, check out my fan fiction. These things here. I'm very proud of them. I'm currently making good progress on book 64. And of course, join the Animorphs Discord, link is in the description. I'm going to go find a better hat, because this is my fiance's, and she's probably having a good laugh at me right now. Thank you very much for watching, and toodle pip. Bye.